Chronicles Chapter 21. And Satan rose up against Israel, and incited David to count the people of Israel. So David said to Joab and the leaders of the people, "Go and count the people of Israel from Beersheba to Dan, and bring me a report so that I may know their number." But Joab replied, "May the Lord increase the number of his people 100-fold. My lord the king, are they not all your servants? Why does my lord want to do this? Why should he bring guilt on Israel?" However, the king's order prevailed, and Joab set out and traveled throughout Israel, and then returned to Jerusalem. Joab reported to David the total number of fighting men. In Israel, there were 1,100,000 men who could handle a sword, and in Judah, there were 470,000 men who could wield a sword. But Joab did not include Levi and Benjamin in the count because the king's command was detestable to him. This decision displeased God, and he struck Israel as a result. David said to God, "I have sinned greatly by doing this. Now, please forgive your servant's wrongdoing because I have acted very foolishly." Then the Lord spoke to Gad, David's seer, saying, "Go and tell David, this is what the Lord says, I am offering you 3 choices. Choose one of them for me to carry out against you." So Gad went to David and told him, "This is what the Lord says, take your choice, 3 years of famine, 3 months of being chased by your enemies and defeated, or 3 days of the sword of the Lord, days of plague in the land, with the angel of the Lord bringing destruction to the whole territory of Israel. Decide right now what answer I should take back to the one who sent me." David said to Gad, "I am deeply distressed. Please let me fall into the Lord's hands, for his mercies are very great, but do not let me fall into human hands." So the Lord sent a plague on Israel, and 70,000 Israelite men died. Then God sent an angel to Jerusalem to destroy it. But when the angel was about to destroy the city, the Lord looked, relented concerning the destruction, and said to the angel who was destroying the people, "Enough, withdraw your hand now." The angel of the Lord was then standing at the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. When David looked up and saw the angel of the Lord standing between earth and heaven, with his drawn sword in his hand stretched out over Jerusalem, David and the elders, clothed in sackcloth, fell face down. David said to God, "Wasn't I the one who gave the order to count the people? I am the one who has sinned and acted wickedly. But these sheep, what have they done? Lord my God, please let your hand be against me and my father's family, but do not let the plague be against your people." So the angel of the Lord ordered Gad to tell David to go up and set up an altar to the Lord on the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. David went up at Gad's command spoken in the name of the Lord. Ornan turned back and saw the angel, and his 4 sons who were with him hid themselves. Ornan was threshing wheat. David approached Ornan, and when Ornan looked and saw David, he left the threshing floor and bowed to David with his face to the ground. Then David said to Ornan, "Give me this threshing floor plot, so that I may build an altar to the Lord on it. You must sell it to me for the full price, so the plague on the people can be stopped." Ornan said to David, "Take it. My lord the king may do whatever he wants. I give you the oxen for a burnt offering and the threshing sledges for the wood and the wheat for the grain offering. I give it all." But King David replied to Ornan, "No, I insist on paying the full price, for I will not take for the Lord what belongs to you or offer burnt offerings that cost me nothing." So David gave Ornan 15 pounds of gold for the plot. David built an altar to the Lord there and offered burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. He called on the Lord, and he answered him with fire from heaven on the altar of burnt offering. Then the Lord spoke to the angel, and he put his sword back into its sheath. At that time, when David saw that the Lord answered him at the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite, he offered sacrifices there. The tabernacle of the Lord, which Moses had made in the desert, and the altar of burnt offering were at the high place in Gibeon. But David could not go before it to inquire of God, because he was terrified of the sword of the Lord's angel.